Hey y'all, I am tuning in. I think we're running it just a little bit late. I was tuning in to Casey Bell's Shake Up Learning presentation. So I wanted to first start by introducing myself a little bit. My name is Roslyn Manning. I am a sophomore English teacher at Oldham County High School, and I teach, sophomore English and also AP Seminar, which is new for us this year. So I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see my presentation, and it will also have a shortened bit.ly link so that you can access the slides if you want to have them. So give me just a second. I'm going to share my screen and then we will go through Google Keep together. Okay, I think I have this set up. I'm looking at my second computer just to make sure that it's going through correctly. There we go. It looks like it's on a slight lag. So here is just what I was going to go through with you today. So I first started using Google Keep about I don't know, it was earlier in the school year, and I learned about it through another Kentucky Go Digital event. And I saw one presentation on it, and I was just hooked. It was something that I really felt like was applicable to my life in terms of like professional use and also personal use. So I'm going to leave this slide up here for just a second. You can take a picture of the bit.ly URL, or you can just type it in if you wanted to do split screen or something like that. So I'm going to leave this here for just about a minute and I will tune back in. Okay, so again, just a little bit of background about me. I went to the University of Alabama for my undergraduate and got my Bachelor of Science in Secondary Ed Language Arts, and moved up to Kentucky in 2013 and started working on my master's in teacher leadership with a concentration in instructional technology. And I completed that in 2015 at the University of Louisville. I am a level 1 and level 2 Google certified educator. And right now I am leading my first Kentucky Go Digital event. So I'm really excited to be here with y'all. And again, we're working with Google Keep. I'll kind of show you some of my favorite ways to use it and some ways that I've used it this year that have been really beneficial to me personally, but also in the classroom as well. So first, I have I was trying to figure a way to explain what is Google Keep. So Google Keep is really just essentially digital sticky notes. And you can create all sorts of sticky notes with Google Keep. So of course, the first one that you might think of is text, so typing in little sticky notes. But you can use images and create checklists and use links. So I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to actually go to Google Keep, and in order to do that, you're going to type in keep.google.com. And I am logged in through the Kentucky Go Digital virtual Google Keep. So I shared a few of them from my personal or from my work account so that you can just kind of get an idea of what they look like. But I'm actually going to take you step by step through through how to do some of these things. So the first one I'll show you is just a basic text note. You can create a title for it, Monday to-do list. And then you can type in just random little things like create assessment. But for to-do list, one that I really, really like, and it's awesome, is if it's the checklist. So if you go to more and you scroll down to show checkboxes, you can actually create check off items. So create assessment. I might list another item like grade assessment, email colleague. Okay. So what I really like about this, is once I've created the note, you can go in. I've created my assessment, so I'm going to check it off, and it creates a really nice visual where it shows the check mark, but it also scratches it out. So one thing that I love about physical sticky notes is the ability to mark something out. I love being able to look at my sticky note and know, like, look at all of these things I've accomplished. Well, Google Keep lets me do the exact same thing. It's still your visual reminder that, oh, wow, I've already done the 7 things that were on my to-do list today, and now I only have 1 left. So I love the checklist feature, and use it for work. I use it for my personal life. It's really, really neat. So I love that feature. So that is creating the checklist and also just doing like your typical text note. But you can also do images. So if you kind of hover over this little mountain image, it'll say new note with an image. You can click on that, and you can pull from your computer images like that. So that's a really neat feature as well. And I can show you. I've got some random images of my children on here, so I'll just put one up there. Santa picture, daughter's first Christmas. So I'm going to delete this one. Okay, so that is images, and I've seen people use images for like clip art where they've got each day of the week, and then each sticky note is another. So they've got a Monday clip art, and they've got their to-do list for Monday under there, or Tuesday, or however they like to do that. So you could also do that with home or work or whatever it may be. So that's a really neat feature with that. I'm gonna go over back to my presentation slides. So one really neat thing that you can do through the app, so you can use Keep on a web browser, but there's also a really nice app feature as well. So you can actually do voice notes through the app, and there's a little microphone that you would click on and speak in your note, which I really like to do stuff like that, especially if I'm having a really quick one-on-one conference with students. That's a really, really neat feature so that you have audio recording and it's good documentation, or a good way for you to go back and listen later so you can remember exactly what you may have said to a student or what a student may have said to you. Personally, I really like the voice notes because sometimes I'm in a place where my hands are full, or I just don't have enough time to stand there and type on my phone. So I can click the microphone and just talk in the voice note. And that's a really, really neat feature that I like a lot. The app also gives you the option to grab image text. And you can't do this on a web browser, but you can take a picture of, say, maybe a paper that you handed to a student, and you can grab image text. So what it does is it takes the text from your picture and it creates text into the note, which is really awesome because it recognizes that text. It doesn't do great with handwriting, but it is a really cool feature if you don't have another copy of something, or if you want to just transfer something that you've got a copy of and transfer it into typed text. But again, those two options are only on the app. So some other ways that I really like to use Google Keep. that I really like to use Google Keep. One of them is the drawing feature. Now, I'm not an artist. I actually, stick figures are even just awful for me. So the drawing feature it's interesting, at least when I'm doing Google Keep notes. So I've got this one here that I created just as a sample of what you can do, but I'll show you how to go through that. So if you are at the top of Google Keep where it says take a note and you see the pen, if you click that, this is new note with drawing. And so a new feature that they have, math teachers, I think you're going to love this. You can do graph paper. And again, I'm an English teacher, so I don't do a whole lot of math, especially not graphing. That was not my forte. But this is really, really cool if you wanted to have students take notes on Google Keep, or you could even do lined paper like this, or you can have dotted paper, or just no background at all. So you can kind of play around with this, but you can change colors. We'll go purple since we're doing this Kentucky Go Digital. So you can do whatever with this, have them, I love the graph paper feature. So that's really nice for math teachers especially. Okay, I'm just gonna draw a smiley face here. There we go. Well, it's not working. There we go. Smiley face. All righty. Another really awesome thing that Google Keep allows you to do is to set reminders by time or by location. So I have been guilty of, I will have reminders set just by time, and it's kind of a guessing game for me. So I know that I get to work usually around 7:20, and so I will set a reminder to go off at, say, 7:25, so that hopefully I get it. But maybe I'm running late, my reminder goes off early, and then by the time I get to work, because I'm running late and I'm frazzled, then I've forgotten about the reminder. Right? So something really, really awesome is the place or the ability to remind you when you get to a certain location. So make copies of assessment. So I'm going to click this hand with the little finger, remind me, and I will pick a place. So you need to allow Google to know your location in order for this to work. So I'm going to choose location, Oldham County High School, and click that and save. And it's got the map feature here where you can see that it's going to remind me at when I get to my location. So I need 30 copies of the quiz. And then I will close it. And it is there. So I've got the Google Keep app on my phone, and the next time I pull into my school parking lot, I should get the notification that I need to make 30 copies of my quiz. So I really, really like that feature because I am so guilty of setting a time reminder and then just forgetting about it. So that feature is really nice for someone like me. But again, you can also do a time reminder. So create assessment grammar quiz. All right. So pick date and time. I really like to be able to schedule these reminders out as I think of them. So I might need this quiz. Well, it's summer break, so I don't need it for a while. So I'm going to say September 12th is when it's going to remind me. And I want it to remind me in the morning. And you can set these defaults under settings, which I will show you in just a second. But I want it to remind me at 8 o'clock in the morning. You can set it so that it repeats daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, or you can customize it however you would like. And then hit save. So I will probably forget about this, and then I will get a reminder on September 12th, and then I won't know what I was doing with it. So I'm going to go ahead and close. You saw the morning, afternoon default time. So if you go to settings, you can change that. If you know that you want morning reminders at, say, 7:30, you can change it here. Maybe the afternoon, you're on planning at, we'll say, 2 o'clock. And then evening, for me, I like to get evening reminders after my kids go to bed. So I would change this to 8 o'clock p.m. and then hit save. And when you go back to set another reminder, those times are different. Later today, 8 p.m., tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m., or next week at 7:30 a.m. So those settings are able to be changed, which is awesome. Okay. So you might be wondering, okay, that's great. I can create all of these sticky notes, but it's going to look just like my desk, and how am I going to organize these things? Well, good news is you can create labels, which are really, really nice for organizing. So your labels are really essentially folders that you can create. So in order to create these labels, you're going to go to the left-hand side of the screen and create a new one. And you might say home. Maybe you use the same account for work and home, and you want to be able to organize those sticky notes because you don't want your work and your home life sticky notes getting all confused together. So I'm going to create the home. I might even create work. Okay. I have these annotated bibliography rubric categories here. I'm going to go over those later in my presentation, but I'm going to show you how to go in and add a label to something that's already been created. So you can see that these don't have labels. They're just kind of pinned here at the top, hanging out. So in order to add a label, you're going to go to More and the 3 dots, and then Add Label. Well, I don't use annotated bibliographies in my home life. I'm going to go ahead and click Work. But a neat tool here is you can add more than one label to each note. So maybe it's work, but it's also AP seminar. I can do both of those. So I'm going to create this AP seminar label just to show you. I've got work already there. I'm going to go in, change labels, and add AP seminar. So when I go to my labels on the left-hand side, when I click AP seminar, it shows up there, but it will also show up under work, which is really nice. So I'm going to do that for each of these. AP seminar and work. AP seminar and work. And AP seminar and work. All right. So labels, again, like I said, they are pretty much folders for you. Even with those folders, so sometimes if I'm taking a note, if I have to always go and add a label and do all of the clicking steps, that sometimes is frustrating for me. I get busy and I get in a hurry.
David Lentender, please call 300. David Lentender, please call 300. Any available custodian, please call 301.
I get really busy sometimes and I forget to click, and then, you know, I go back, I try to find these sticky notes and I don't know what I'm looking for. So something that I really love in Google Keep is that you can, in your title, hashtag whatever it is that, you know, you can hashtag home, and it will create a home label for you. And then any note that you create at the end of it, you can put hashtag home and it creates that for you. So I'm going to do another example of creating a label with a hashtag. So my sophomores always do a daily grammar practice. We do that as an English 2 team. So I'm going to title Daily Grammar Practice hashtag English 2. I don't have an English 2 label right now, but it asks if I would like to create one, and I would. So I'm going to click it. And you can see that it is underlined. It turns blue. So that's really nice. Daily grammar practice, Mondays activity is part of speech. I'm going to close that out. So when I come down here, I've got English 2 right there, and you'll notice over here on the left-hand side, it creates an English 2 label. And I can click there, and my note shows up. So that's really, really great for those times when you feel like you're too busy or you're in a rush or something like that, and you know that you're going to forget to click a label. That this way the note doesn't get lost in the shuffle. And you can do that, you know, when I go back and I want to create another one, daily grammar practice day 2, and then I'm going to hashtag English 2, and it'll create it. So you can see on my screen, the very top the pinned notes are pink. Another way that you can organize your label or organize your sticky notes is not just with labels, but also with colors. So I'm going to go through looking at daily grammar practice day 2. If you click on the color palette or hover over the color palette, it will give you some color options. I'm going to choose gray for this, for my English 2. Let's see. Whoops. There we go. I'm going to choose gray for my English 2 items. And so for those of you who are very visual and you really like to be able to see the colors, and that helps you, then you can color code all of your sticky notes. The colors don't really help me that much. I would much prefer labels with almost like folders on the left-hand side, but I know plenty of people who use the color coding option in Google Keep, and they really, really like it, and it's a really, really great tool for them. So that's really cool. And something else with color coding your sticky notes, I'm going back to my presentation here. I found a category tabs extension, and on my presentation, I've created a link for you to get there. For those of you who really like the color coding, this is a really neat extension. You can customize. So on Google Keep, it will show you the colors at the top of your screen, kind of where my mouse is right now. And you can customize, you know, all of the pinks are AP Seminar. And so if you want to get there, you have access to it at the top of your screen. I used it for a couple of months and then kind of realized that the color coding didn't work for me. But I've got colleagues who really like that extension, and it works really well for them. It just doesn't work as well for me. But that's a neat extension if you were interested in that for organizing things. Okay, so one of the things that I really love about Google Keep is the ability to collaborate. And I've got an example here for you. If you look at these pink annotated bibliography sticky notes here, you will see that my little Bitmoji here is attached to it. And that is because I created these on my work Google account. And when I knew that I was going to be logging into the Kentucky Go Digital account for my presentation, I wanted access to these. So I added the Kentucky Go Digital account as a collaborator. So this is really cool. If, say, my English 2 teacher team had to, you know, we had a to-do list. So I'm going to show the check boxes, and we know that as a team, we need to create formative assessment for thesis writing. And then after we create it, we need to be able to analyze data from assessment. And then after we analyze the data, we might need to know, okay, what are our next steps? So decide on next instructional steps. Well, these things could take, a week, maybe even 2 weeks once this whole process is over. And maybe we want to make sure that we're holding each other accountable for the work that we're doing. And as at least here at Oldham County High School, our teacher teams really work well together, and we plan everything together. So I would hover here where you've got the person with the plus sign to add a collaborator. And I'm actually, just to show you how this works, I'm just going to share it with my work email. So roslyn.manning@oldham.kyschools.us. And I'm going to save that. And you will see, again, my little Bitmoji shows up here. So this is an awesome feature of Google Keep, so that when somebody says, okay, well, I finished creating the assessment, again, it's completed. And that way we all have a running to-do list of everything that is being done and needs to get done in our teacher team. So that's a really awesome thing to use through Google Keep. You can also do this. You can create a honey-do list on your Google Keep and share it with your husband or your wife or your kids or whatever, so that you always know these are the things that need to get done in the house, and you can check it off, and everybody's held accountable for those things, ideally, of course. So I love that feature. One of the ways that Google Keep has made my life a lot easier as an English teacher. So as an English teacher, I get essays all the time. We're constantly writing, and I am constantly giving the same feedback, writing the same comments, and all of that sort of thing. So something that I've done, and I've got it here on my Google Keep for you, is I have created a digital sticky note for each row of my rubric. Now, my AP seminar students did annotated bibliography months and months ago, and they turned them in through Google Classroom. And instead of using the comment feature over and over and over again and typing in my same comments, I decided to use Google Keep as a way to just copy in the rubric score in their annotated bibliography. So I'm going to show you just an example. I'm going to go to this document that I've shared. And I've got this sample annotated bibliography. And in order to access Google Keep through, you can do this in Google Docs and Google Slides. You'll go to Tools and click on Keep Notepad. And it will pull up all of your notes on the right-hand side. Not only does it pull up your notes, but as you're typing in here, you can also make notes. Common errors. And maybe as you're reading through these, you start taking note of common errors. Incorrect citations. Done. And so it creates, there we go. So it can create notes as well. What I suggest for this, and I've got this in my presentation, is that when you are in Google Keep, if you do not pin your sticky notes to the top, when you're in the document, they will kind of fall wherever, and you might have to scroll for them. So, and it took me a little bit to figure that out, but once I did, it made my life a lot easier. So what I've done is I've pinned all of these annotated bibliography rubric rows to the top, so that while I'm looking through all of the documents, I don't also have to scroll through the Keep Note toolbar. So what you will do, or could do, is when I was grading these, I graded each of the sources individually. So if their annotated bibliography for this source was a 100, then I would click the menu button here on the right-hand side, add to document, and it takes that entire sticky note and paste it into the document, which I love. And again, maybe source number 2. I'm going to click down here, hit enter. Maybe source number 2 wasn't that great, and I can give them a C, add to document. I love this because I don't have to constantly type out all of the comments. Even with doing this, I was able to highlight from my sticky notes. Sources are somewhat relevant. So just so that they would know, this is where the biggest mistake was. Your sources weren't all that relevant. And I could highlight that so that it stood out. But I really like to be able to use this to save some of those common comments that I'm having to type over and over and over again. And they're right there in Google Keep. So I really like that. Okay. And just some other things that I really like with Google Keep. Again, the Keep app, it works offline. It's really great to be able to take some notes on the go. But something else I really love is the Google Keep extension, which I've already added to my Chrome browser, but I've got a link here in case you want to click on that. It makes it really easy to find. So something else that you can do, I really like to have my students save to their Google Keep links that we're going to use a lot. So for my AP kids, we upload a lot of things to Digital Portfolio with College Board. So I would, and I'm going to go to Digital Portfolio. They always forget the URL and then they end up in the wrong place. So I would have them go to the website I want them to keep and then click the little extension here and give it a title, Digital Portfolio for College Board. And you'll see here in the right corner, it says saving, it's spinning. Now I know that it is saved. I can also add a label, AP Seminar, and it is saved. So when I go back to my Google Keep, there's the link and it's right there. They can create labels, say, change labels. I'm going to create another one, important websites for AP Sim. Create that. And then they've got that right there in their Google Keep and they cannot lose it because it's there forever until they delete it. So I really like the Chrome extension. It's been great for me as a teacher, with professional learning networks, being able to say, oh, I really liked that blog post. Instead of having to email it to myself, I can just click that extension and it saves it to my Google Keep. And it's been really, really nice to have something that I can just go to right away. And I know that I have access to it and I'm not going to lose it. And it's not going to get lost in my email because I'm guilty of that. I email myself links and then I lose them and that's no fun either. So those are some of my favorite features of Google Keep. And I hope that this has been beneficial for you. And if you have any questions, you can always contact me on Twitter or on my email. Those are both on my presentation. So it's good to see y'all. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.